giving me this wonderful opportunity. I hope I'm audible to each and every dignitaries present here.
Yes.
This is an absolute pleasure for me, to be honest, to share my views and especially targeting the young entrepreneurs in our platform who are wanted to make a difference. This is very, very important. And today is no different as well. We'll share our experiences. We'll learn so many things. First step is always learn to gain the experience and then always try to implement it. So this is the motive of today's webinar as well. We'll discuss this in detail as well. And I'm looking forward for this webinar as well. So thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful opportunity. With that, I think I will start today's presentation. And we will focus on mainly the organizational behavior, which we have started in the last webinar, and especially discussing a few key aspects of great organizations, that how we can also inspire from those organizations and try to inculcate their good behavior also in our organization or our enterprise, whatever the case may be. And of course, in any journey, any startup journey, you need to find out the key aspects of your not only of your product but also your organization, so that it will be flourished in every circumstances under any conditions. So this is one of the major part which we'll discuss today, and I'm looking forward for it. So with this, I will share my screen, share my presentation today. Um, I hope my presentation is visible to everyone. Yeah, excellent. So welcome once again to all the young minds, the young startups, or all the actually the future leaders, I should say, those who joined in this platform for today's webinar series, which is going on in terms of the leadership qualities, what should be absolutely important, what are the main criteria of the leader that we have discussed also. Then we have gone through the each and every case studies of eminent personalities or the top leaders, or I should say in terms of business point of view, which we have discussed. We have discussed the owners of not only from Google, but also from Facebook to Alibaba, and also for the KFC. So we have different, we have studied many case studies, and what we have found that each and every individual's life, there are many difficulties. There are difficulties of, in the sense, from the starting, no one is believing on them, even then they try to achieve on their own. So today we will discuss one of the major aspect, that how an organization try to fulfill its own journey in the startup programs in the early stage, what will happen in the next few years, and how you always make a strategic plan in order to execute it towards success. So this is very, very important, especially those who are looking to start their own ventures. This is absolutely important. We need to understand so many key aspects, and only then we try to implement those aspects. And of course, opportunities are there. It's just the time which you have to be very careful of. And as our model is also there, in each company, there is one model, and we will study in today's webinar, we'll also study one model, which I have also personally experienced in one of the companies, and also try to execute that, what are their behaviors, what are their notions, and what they want to achieve in the coming years. So let's start with the one of the main quotations of what I have discovered, which is a fascinating aspect of any organization. A novelty and necessity, that is an indication where you have to adapt. Every organization, due course of time, will always adapt. If they will adapt, they will see the need of the hour, and then they always try to manage. Only the successful companies try to manage it, and they will always be successful no matter what the conditions are. And also we will talk about the major key aspects, as our dynamic chairman has suggested, that what are the key responsibilities of every positions which is held in either in executive section or in organization section in a company, what they mean basically, and how they can maximize their potential individually, not only to harness or to gain more access to the company's in the company's domain, but also try to learn many key aspects while doing those jobs as well. So we will have the major part of share in that particular thing. Today's webinar will dedicate to that particular section also, where how and why you want to employ certain people if you are starting your own venture. This is absolutely important as well. So without any delay, let's start with today's main key aspect. Of course, I have already given you the recap of the missions where we have studied Steve Jobs, Bill Gates. We have now a good understanding of leadership qualities and how we have to behave when we are leading people, how we can make our plans, how we can have an assessment things. So each and everything we have discussed. One of the main key aspects, I think, which we also try to discuss today is the responsibilities which we have given to particular people in your organization. For example, if you have any venture, a small startup maybe, or an existing startup where you are associated with, or an existing global company where you are associated with. Now, your own input is always a key aspect, and your understanding and passion is absolutely vital. If you understand the company's policies, if you understand the company's ethics, if you understand the company's behavior, its organizational structure, then, and plus there is a cascading effect if you have a passion about it. So both these things are very important in terms of your growth, and of course your growth that is directly proportional to the company's growth as well. So whenever you whenever you try to employ anyone for your company's job, you have to see two major things that we'll discuss in our organizational behavior as well. Then we will study a chain and a cloud model, that how different companies are employing certain models that are successful. We can take the best part of it and also try to execute those strategies in our companies as well. Then finally, we will have our own business and franchising model, and how we can actually acquire more number of more experience in those sectors as well. And all in all, the crux of it is to try to increase the potential of your company and make it more and more successful every year, every week, every month, or every quartile, or every day, or maybe every second. So the time-bound work is also very important. The ethics are very important. We will discuss it in detail as well. Now let's come to the first part where I have already mentioned the talent part. Now, once you're trying to employ someone, for example, you have you're associated or you have your own startup. Now you need people, skilled people and talented people. Sometimes people often neglect the qualifications. Of course, in today's DNA age, with the information and the technology we have, every individual has to go through certain exceptional talent or skills in order to shine in certain companies. Of course, the education qualification are the means of social stigma also, because it's just for the social fabric that you are having a I mean, we have seen in the examples of Jack Ma, and we have, or either he was a graduate, then Bill Gates. We have seen the example of many other leaders as well. So they are dropouts, but they are now become in the leading world leaders and leading the global companies, which has an immense potential, and now they are flourishing. So your main key aspect is the talent and the skill, and of course the vision. This is very important. If you have a vision in your mind which is very much parallel to your company's vision, this is the the very much putting the seed of the success in your growth as well. If you don't have a vision, if you don't have a goal, then you keep flip-flopping. You're like a tennis ball. So sometimes you're in the other court, sometimes you're in a different court. So always make sure that you have a one particular goal which you want to fulfill in a time-bound manner. This is very, very important. Similarly, when you are employing someone for any job position, for example, you want to employ either 3 or 4 people in your company, just to begin with, just to start your venture. The first thing you have to see is the skill and the talent. Forget about the qualifications. Or maybe make a benchmark, maybe make a standard of a qualification that this much you need a graduate or a postgraduate like this. But always sees the potential of people in terms of their skill and their talent. Then comes their vision and their goal. Now you always want to employ certain people in your company, those who have vision which is streamlined with your company as well. So that is why you can only actually filter or funnel it down so that you get the best employees. It's actually about all the teamwork which you get. If you have a good team, then no one can stop you. I can tell you with the examples we have seen in the previous webinars, and especially in the case of big entrepreneurs and the world leaders which you have discussed, they have an exceptional team. Now, if they have an exceptional team, make sure you should also have an exceptional team. Now, how to find that team? It is a simple process, but it takes time. The first thing, as I told you, see the skill and the talent. Then see his vision and the goal. If his goal is actually to learn during the process, that is the one a good point, that it's always you have to see people who want to learn and explore. Then comes what is his vision, what is his long-term effect, how he wants to contribute to your company, and how much he is passionate and dedicated to contribute to your company. This is also very important. So make sure you can adapt and evolve, and as similarly, your team should also adapt and evolve. Of course, there are different minds and there are different emotions. Everything will be different in terms of your team, but make sure you always channelize all these things into one major focus point, which is the success of your company. Nothing should be, and you should not compromise in anything which leads to which is actually stagnate the growth of your company. So this is one of the primary fact that you always should remember. Then comes one of the most important aspect. Sometimes long back in 1995, when Jeff Bezos have started his venture from the Amazon, he got an investment from his parents. Very, 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 I should say, very minuscule amount of investment he has started. He started one company with the investment of his parents and some loans and something like that. But he was acting. I'm sure everyone must have seen his earlier interviews, that he believes in himself, and if he then make a good team. He devised in 1998 onwards. Then he started flourishing slowly and steadily, and by 2017, he has become his company, which is of course Amazon, has become a global company. And by 2020, just after like last 6 months, he's become the world leader as well. And then later on, Elon Musk, of course, has overtaken him. So they're always one and two, as they're always having a jibe at each other. But they are the leaders which we have to also learn from. Now, one thing is for sure, only the people who are capable of doing work efficiently should be in your organization. I will tell you one example, of course, later on, the organizational behavior, how we can actually characterize it. And I will tell you an example in Amazon also, that how they recruit people, they test people, and then they give them the contracts, that this is how it goes. We should also do the same, because all in all, when the people are focused in a job, they're giving you 100% in a job, only then your company will always flourish on those conditions. So you should never compromise on these aspects as well. Otherwise, there will be always your company's growth will be always stagnated, and it will be not being fruitful as your plan and your strategy. As a leader, what you always make a plan and a strategy. So this is very, very important aspect as well. Now, let's come to the main key aspect, which we have started in the last webinar. And today we will discuss in depth of details that what is an organizational behavior, how our own company, whatever the venture I have started, should contain these key points, these fundamental points in my organization, so that it will be run in a very optimal way, and the growth of the company will be always higher in every month or every year, and definitely we will have a successful results as well. The first thing which comes into the mind definitely is the work policies and ethics. Now, what do you mean by the work policies? Of course, there are certain guidelines, certain mandatories, which you put it in a contract clause in your company. Whenever you employ someone, you need to give a contract. The contract has basically has certain terms and conditions. Make sure you always make those contracts very, very important. This is very, very important. Make sure your contracts should also imply the labor laws of that particular country. Of course, that is mandatory. But the second thing is always induced your own vision and your own organizational structure guidelines, which should be very, very important. Especially in terms of the working part, this is very, very important. And of course, then there is ethics. This is very, very important as well. The ethics in a company will always make a company in a longer run and a sustainable company. A company without ethics will never sustain in a longer run. So definitely, you should always do an ethical nature. Your every recruitment process, every process should be very crystal clear, and it should be transparent without any bias with the gender, with the ethnicity, with the age. So you should employ the best people for the best kind of a job, and that is what the bottom line should be. You should never employ people who will always whose focus point or whose goals are a bit different to your company. Then comes the staff engagement. Now you have your own positions in every organization, starting from the working positions to the corporate positions, of course, to the executive positions. Each and every position has their different roles. There are certain executive officers, there are certain corporate then there comes the organizational officers, then comes the CEOs, the CEOs, and of course the chairmen. So the hierarchy of each and every officer is very, very different, and also depend on the role of what the role he plays in the organization. Now, as we all know that, of course, if you are a CEO of the company, you are basically handling each and every concept in terms of the strategy and the planning. Now you can always divide those things to other officers, which actually have a monitoring purpose on your employees. Now, those monitoring officers should be absolutely vital to the company as well. Now, because they are monitoring each and every officers, and of course, taking assessments, taking reports, as I've already mentioned in my last webinar, that how there are different concepts where you can have the assessments. It's very, very important. After all, if you employ someone and if he's working, let's say 5 days a week or 6 days a week, now every minute he spent for working hour is absolutely vital. I will give you an example later on for Amazon, that how they work, every minute is being calculated. You have to understand. And that's how you should also employ in your organization. In our organization, it's the same. Every minute counts. because that is how you get the success. It's not about a days or a months or a years concept. It's about every minute. So in that sense, your working capabilities and of course the people who are working are actually should be in sync. It should not be the staff engagements are very, very important. And of course, appreciation is also very important. All the good and the great leaders, they always appreciate success and the results. This is very, very important. So there is a difference between trying hard and getting the work done. So we will also talk about that thing later on. Then comes very, very important, the workload and the management. Now the management section, which is of course which manages all your office works, definitely has a play a vital role in order to get an observations of all the employees as well. And of course the workloads. Every employee you employ, you should be very careful in that sense that each and every employee should only have the work capabilities, depending upon its work capabilities, has the work done. It's not that you overload certain people and some people have no goal or no vision or no strategy for them. So in that sense, you should manage an optimized way that each and every individual officer have his own goal, which is actually synced with the main company goal, that is of course for the success of the company. So there should not be any overload of any particular individual, or there should not be an underload. For example, they should not be feeling that, okay, this is a work for 2 days and I'm doing it for 1 week. This is now how it goes. Then comes the monitoring system. Now I will take the example here of course for Amazon. Now how they try to implement in their definitely in their FCs. As you all know, Amazon has FC world across Europe, across US, definitely, and definitely in every country, probably now they're opening their FCs. What is the concept on how they have maintained the model of it? It's very, very simple. They only employ people who are capable of doing that particular job. And if you're not capable, immediately you will be thrown out from the company. And definitely the contract system in the Amazon is very, very strict as well. They will give you, depending upon your performance, and every minute counts. For example, every hour they have an assessment. For example, if you are in a picking or a packing or an outbound or an inbound section of an Amazon in an FC and you're working. So you're working, let's say from 6:30 in the morning, you start your work till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Then there is only the mandatory interval. That means the lunch period. Let's say it's 45 minutes. But in Amazon, you will never get 45-minute long lunch period. So what does this organization say? That no, we will always give you a short breaks for 10 minutes so that the productivity will be remains the same. So, but also depending upon the labor laws, definitely they will give you 45 minutes minimum of resource break. So then they will change it for 20 and 25 minutes. So, and definitely they have groups, they have different groups, which is giving recess the different timings, depending upon their work starting point. Now, every hour there is a manager there. The floor manager will always keep an eye on every hour, how many packings you have done, how many pickings you have done, how many outbounds you have done. They make a record. Everything is online nowadays. Depending upon your 8 hours of work, they will assess that, okay, he is on a good list or a very good list or an exceptional list. Depending upon per quartile or per week, they will assess. Then they will give you a hike, of course, in the salaries, and they will appreciate you. Then, of course, in a month, they will also calculate. So like this, we should also try to employ, because after all, our organization or any organization which is working They should work in terms of not only for just for the sake of working, but also try to have a passion and an emotion involved, so that each and every minute of your working part will count to the company as well. So this is very, very important. And plus, if you have the vision and if you have the zeal and you made your all your organization people happy, and definitely you have to appreciate also. If someone is doing an exceptional job, you should try to appreciate them. Always make the life of your working culture is very congenial and in a good way, and it's lighten up the mood as well, and that's how you flourish as well. So now we have seen the example of the Amazon. We can also implement in our strategy. Our organization is the same. We have every hour reporting, every quartile reporting, that is a 5 days of reporting. Then we have per month reporting. So because the assessment is very, very necessary, because every minute counts, so you need to understand and make sure you only employ those people who understand these systems. Because without system, without a proper management system, you cannot flourish. Your business, your venture, your startup will never flourish. So this is one of the major aspects in that as well. Then comes another part which I want to touch today, that is called to improve their manager skills and abilities. Of course, you have to improve them. Now, how you can improve them? By giving them constant training in the advanced level. For example, let's say if you are in a company, or if you started your own company and you want to inculcate certain visions, certain goals, certain aspects, certain duties, certain values, or certain work policies, then every 7 days or every quartile or every second day, depending upon the modus operandi of your work, you have to take the meetings. You have to take the trainings to your offices. You need to train them. You need to make sure that they are on the right direction, right path. Then you need to motivate them. Then you need to assess them. And once you have motivated them, once you have assessed them, then only you can find the conclusion that, okay, everything is working as per my strategy, as per my plan for, let's say, one year. And then later on, I can also start expanding. That is what I meant when I said that you have to adapt and evolve. Then comes the reporting and the assessment, which is very, very important. Now, nowadays in the companies, you will take either there are certain softwares available for reportings, or you will take it manually. Now, of course, you can do it on WhatsApp. You can use certain programs, certain applications, certain apps for taking every hour reporting from your employees. Always try to implement those, and always be responsible for each and every aspects whenever they are reporting. For example, your employees, you have 10 employees and you had one reporting meeting. Let's say after every quartile, after every 5 days, you are taking one meeting. You are assessing them basically, depending upon what they have done in that quartile, let's say for 5 days. Now you have to be very critical in that as well. What is one quartile result and what is your one quartile goal? Both should be given in this meeting, because everyone should has his vision and his target. This is very, very important. You have to set the target as well. The benchmark is always depend upon the number of the people, and of course it also depends upon their outreach. Now, since we are in a global organization, you have to target globally. You have to think globally. Then you need to understand whatever your target is there, try to achieve the target. Try to make sure that everything contributes so that that target should be achieved. Now you're taking assessment for all the employees. Let's say all the 10 employees are giving their targets and giving their results. Someone is doing exceptionally well. Someone is lagging behind. Someone is actually doing nothing. You have to be you need to be aware of all these things. That is what I meant when you want to have an reporting and assessment. You need to understand those who are in the same atmosphere, in the same company. In my company, the some officers are doing exceptionally well and some officers are lagging behind. So what is the reason? We should talk about it. Then you need to have a discussion. A productive discussion actually makes it even more you should do more and more these kind of meetings for those people who are actually lagging behind. What is the reason why they are not actually adapt and evolve in your organization while others do? So this is very, very important. Then you need to try to motivate them. And then of course everything should count on the us. It's not how many ways you know. It always it's the best thing that always that what ways will work on it. So if you know 100 ways and you do not know the final destination for it, but you know 100 ways, but that doesn't not work. If you need to go to your destination, at least you need to know that okay, this one way will definitely go there, and that's it. That's what you need. So in other words, you should have an employee, whoever comes in your organization should have the quality of the passion, should actually try to understand your organization, try to understand your startup, try to understand, and should always feel early startup is always difficult. So you have to make sure that always the motivated people will join your startup, because sooner or later definitely you'll not get success immediately, as the case with Jeff Bezos, as the case with Bill Gates, or with Jack Ma. All these guys haven't have a overnight success. They have to grind it out, and once they got the success, they are the world knows about them now. So this is how you should also prepare. Always work in a plan, in a strategy. Always work with your policies. Always work in ethics. Try to employ people who always have goal and visions, and of course try to improve their abilities, try to improve their skills, try to make sure that you harness their talent, and then always try to improve the risk management. This is very, very important. Whatever the risks you are taking in terms of the goal and the strategies, and sometimes you invest on some people as an organization or as a startup or in a venture, you always initially invest on people. Now do not invest on those people who does not have the same vision as per you, as your vision, and definitely not the company's vision. So you have to make sure it's a very, very delicate understanding to make sure that you have the nag of picking people who are actually working for you and for the company, rather than just working for money. Even that will not even take them to the higher grounds when they are just focusing on the money part. Of course, the money will come later. The money will come. This is what the success is. But you need to make sure that you employ the right kind of people for the right job in your company as well, or in your startup as well. And of course, there are certain demotivating factors which is associated with any startup to begin with. Sometimes people will always, it's hard to get the business going. Sometimes you have some other obstacles. You need to overcome these obstacles and always think positive. If you are positive in that sense, then definitely you will move in a positive direction. If you are yourself being negative as a leader, then it will be impossible for your employees also to get in a positive way. So this is another important factor. They say that the leaders do not have a negative bone in their body, but they always be cautious. So this is how you should also do. Now, the final point which we have discussed, which I want to discuss also in terms of the organizational behavior, that is the effectively, you should manage the change as well. Now, every month is a different month. Sometimes your sales are high, sometimes your sales are low, or or if you're in a manufacturing sector, sometimes you're producing large amount of, depending upon the consumers, sometimes you're making less. But the things which you should always manage is the threshold. What is your threshold last year? You should always try to cross in the next year. Then comes even the next year. So always try to multiply your growth. And that's how you always make the strategies. Initially, when you're making plans, you should always make plans based on these numbers. And of course, based on your team. Always discuss with your team your plans and of course the goals which has to be set in the next upcoming years. So all in all, let's move to the main crux, the main part, that what we have learned so far and how we can implement. Because in Edoxia Research Center or Edoxia Research University, we want to make a change in this world. We want to make sure that all the people who have a mind, a creative mind, and they are into the innovation, they are wanting to do something which is for the society, and they want to employ other people. This is what it's all about. You want to employ other people. You want to have your own business. You have to want to have a sustainable business. So for that, you have to learn the initial aspects. Only then you can actually flourish. Once you learn these strategies, then you can try to implement it. You're implementing it, then you already know that what are the ways I can do it and what are the ways I have learned. And both should be combined in your strategies. And then, of course, comes the major part that is called the sustainability part, that how longer you can sustain these factors in order to get your company on the higher grounds. So this is very, very important. Now, regarding the leaders' qualities, what we have to learn, we have learned that they can, no matter what, they know how to succeed. So this is another point which we also have to understand. If they can succeed in any condition, no excuses, we can also do the same. And of course, time-bound work is very, very important as well. Make sure you have a plan. Once you make a plan, you make your team. Once you make your team, you try to put them under in the responsibilities. Once they are fulfilling their responsibility, try to motivate. Once they are motivated and fulfilling their responsibilities, then try to take them to the next level. This is what all the great leaders or the entrepreneurs of the world are actually doing, and so should we also focus on these aspects as well. Now, the corporate leadership, we have also talked about mainly the corporate leaders, their life stories, what are the aspects we can learn, and especially their innovative sense, their adaptations are very, very critical. So does we should also do the same. Now, in the coming future, in the coming webinars, we also want to make sure that you, as a young entrepreneur, will always have a platform which is Edoxia Research Center. And you also want to make sure that you can use this platform, you can maximize your potential also individually in this platform by actually make sure that you're learning each and everything in this program and try to implement those things in the real world as well. Now, for that, of course, you need many challenges. We are always there to help in those regards. The mentor is very, very important. And a student is also very, very important. So both are actually should be in sync, and only then you get the beautiful results. So all in all, the major crux of the story is that you need to make sure that each concepts of your organization, starting from your contract, starting from employees, starting from their salaries, starting from their duties, starting from their workloads, their reportings, everything should be maintained. Once this comes under a system, then your system will always flourish. If there is an anarchy and there is a chaos, and I'm sure if our chairmen also agree with me that if there is a chaos, stability of a the system is very less. It's a law of thermodynamics, and similarly for life as well. So we need to also understand the chaotic people or the chaos in your office or in your organization or in your venture or in your life never leads to the stability. So we need to understand these things. We need to make sure that we will fulfill these strategies as well, and we try to improve these things. Whatever we have learned, whatever we are learning from others also, and of course in our platform we are learning from each other, and of course in that sense we always try to help each other as well. So now I think we also have in the previous sections we have our Google Docs which are filled by our IEEE candidates. Now in the coming future we will also want to have an EDX talks. This is very, very important. So everyone should get a platform for their own entrepreneur journey if they have, and of course those who are associated with Edoxia as a business partner, they will also try to use this platform as well. But overall, those people who are trying to make sure that they will go for the business now, it is the optimal time. This is the right time. Now you are in Edoxia Research Center, now you're in an IEEE program, now you can start your own venture, and we can help you to actually establish your own venture, and we can help you in each and every concept where you want to learn, even if it is in the management section, or how to run a company, or in terms of just mobilizing it very smoothly to the next part, which is called the success. So all in all, we have to be, this is our next coming venture. We'll have the EDX talks as well for our IEEE candidates. And with this, I would like to conclude today's webinar. Make sure that whatever discussed in all the webinars, starting from the leadership qualities, from the case studies, and definitely for the corporate leaders, we have studied the marketing strategies. Then now comes the final part, which is the organizational behavior. We have studied the ethics, we have taken the examples also, and now it's time for the implementation part. In the coming webinar series, of course, we will also discuss it in detail as well, and some more fascinating aspects also in terms of the corporate section will coming up, and this will be very fascinating as well. And with that, I would like to conclude today's webinar, and definitely would like to ask our IANs that if they have any question or anything what they want to also share in this platform, we are always welcome. And this is an absolute pleasure for me also, so that we always try to fulfill, try to engage in certain aspects where we can learn from each other. So let's learn, and let's make sure that we always create a good environment so that our business and their business will always flourish. So thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful opportunity. And I would like to ask our IANs to also share their point of view. So thank you so much.
It was incredible presentation by Dr. Sukhbinder Singh. And I would like to request each and everyone present here, please give big hand for our speaker, Dr. Sukhbinder Singh, for a wonderful presentation in this platform. And now I would like to unmute our President, Professor Dr. Rituraj sir, for his message to our Dr. Sukhbinder Singh presentation.
Thank you very much, and a big congratulations to Dr. Sukhbinder Singh for such a wonderful and brilliant session here. Well, I think that in his presentation, he covered really very important ideas, as well as the prospect that we need to learn in our early stage. Whenever we are starting our entrepreneurship, obstacles and the problems are the part of our journey. Just remember that whenever you want to start your study, then also you have faced the problem. Problems will be there, and I think that our Dr. Sukhbinder Singh already shared the story of the Jeff Bezos, Jack Ma, Elon Musk. It is all the entrepreneurs are facing the problem in early stage, and they knew that how differently they can solve the problem to achieve their goal. This is very important, that everyone will start the journey our motivation is here that Eudoxia Research Center, India, and Eudoxia Research University, Newcastle, United States of America, always trying to bring the entrepreneurs together. It should be the domain where entrepreneur can exchange their idea, they can share their views, they can ask their question, they can make their query, and they can get the answer here, so that in their entrepreneurial journey, we will be their friend, we will be their mentor, we will be there always to accelerate their startup idea. So what is required in a case of startup, in case of entrepreneurship? We always need a good mentor who will create the leader, who will think about you, who will help you, support you, who will guide you in your every step. It's not like that. Sometimes we will get some mentor who will always give that pressure to us, and we will go under depression. It's not always working. We need to understand that we need the true inspiration, true motivation in our journey. Now, coming towards the starting of our entrepreneurship or the corporate leadership, always we need to identify the problem and we need to find out the solution. This is the main, that's you can say like mantra we are using in the entrepreneurship. It is the main principle that we have to use, that whenever you can find out the realistic problem of the life and you're gonna to make the solution, then definitely you will give the best result. And in today's session also we have found that our Dr. Singh shared the examples even from our organization. Yes, we have the quartile systems, we have the reporting system, and the main part of that, whenever you are the leader, say you are founder, you are starting, it is not only the one man work, it's the teamwork. So the leader should create the other leader and distribute their work and their functions to them, so that it's not will be the one man journey, it will be the team journey. So let's make that together. I would like to request here that those who are having their idea, that's, yeah, I would like to enter in the restaurant business, I may be going for our real estate, I can go for manufacturing business, any business you will start, any business you want to go, or you can join your hand with Eudoxia, then definitely you will get the full support, the complete support from our side. We are ready to support you in the different field. If you are having interest, say you are from the Nigeria, and you have find out that in Nigeria this is the big problem faced by most of the people, faced by maybe their common people, and you would like to solve it in that way. So please share your idea, please discuss. We are here to support you, we are here to give the solution, we are here to join our hands together so that we can move forward for the solution of the problem. Identification of the problem, find out the solution with the right track is very important for us. I would like to appreciate here Dr. Sukhbinder Singh, the speaker of the day, for his such a brilliant session, which is a really motivational and inspirational one to all the people, those who are in this executive education program. And I am pretty much sure here that you are getting the idea that how you can start your leadership. First, always important part is that you have to start your leadership with the self-realization method, and you need to start from yourself. And later on, find out the problem that is the society is facing, your country is facing, your community is facing, and then find out the solution. And we are there. Whenever you are searching for the solution, we have to work out it together. We have to develop the technology to make the solution. We have to bring now one community who will work for the solution. We have to scale up your business, and definitely in upcoming days, we will have the more and more session, more discussion, and we will give you that the way how you can go and you can move forward in your that's aim, in your mission to reach your goal. So thank you everyone. Big congratulations to our speaker, Dr. Sukhbinder Singh. Over to our VP and Managing Director of Eudoxia.
That was wonderful discussion going on, and I really enjoyed the discussion part because Sir has explained about the entrepreneurship journey and how our Eudoxia Research University is ready to support the entrepreneurs from different parts of the globe, and we are ready to produce numbers of entrepreneurs in in our platform. And before that, we have to know ourselves. It should be very clear point that what is entrepreneurship and what is business, because we are always supporting for the entrepreneurs. If someone is into the business, then how he can be a good entrepreneur? So we will show you the path how you can start your journey as an entrepreneur. So it was really one wonderful discussion, as well as with the excellent presentation by Dr. Sukhbinder Singh. So I hope that in our next webinar, we'll continue this series because it is very important part. It is very, very important for anyone who is really interested to start their journey as an entrepreneurs, how they can manage, how they can go for their organization behavior management, everything. So it is a wonderful discussion with a case study, especially the successful entrepreneurs case study, which always motivates us to walk more and more into the field to solve something. Because we want to solve something and we want you all to be the problem solver rather than the job seeker, because you can produce numbers of job under your leadership. So that is our another mission. So I hope that this series will definitely help our other participants, those who are here, to start their journey as an entrepreneur. And we'll in the upcoming webinar, we'll continue the next series with the different case studies so that they can have the in-depth idea. With this, I would like to wind up today's webinar. Thank you all. Good night from India. Namaste.
Thank you, ma'am. Good night. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.